Oh, hey guys, it's your host, Jonathan Sanchez here at King John _22 on Instagram. And the show is at Ramit, RAMIT _radio on Instagram and TikTok. This is my Rams bottle. I've been filling this bad boy up just because of how many losses we've been taking in very winnable games. And we just had another one against Green Bay that I thought the team played really well in the first half. I thought that they honestly we were kicking their ass in the first half. We were kicking the Packers' ass in the first half and really just let go the entire game immediately in the second half. So just want to dive straight into it. Other thing is, I know I'm always kind of all geared out in Ram stuff, but today I'm wearing my Dodger hat to support our boys in blue. So let's go Dodgers. I'm going to start off with 5 takeaways that I had from that Packers game. Number one, honestly, was the refs were really bad that game. They were on quite frankly, they were horrible in the game, and they've been horrible across the league through the first 5 or 6 weeks. They missed a holding call in the very first play of the games. They weren't calling defensive pass interference, which I think is another thing that our young wide receivers can work on. But they're bad in every quarter. There was key penalties that weren't called in almost every quarter. They were inconsistent throughout the whole game, or at least consistently bad throughout the whole game. They missed a call where on on Jordan Whittington's catch and forced fumble. When they thought there was a forced fumble, but the ground can't cause a fumble, and then that forced a 10-second runoff with about a minute 30 left in the game, and put the Rams in a situation where they were either going to lose the 10 seconds or McVay was going to have to go and use one of those timeouts, which he decided not to ultimately. And I hate that rule. Even the announcers commented on it that, why should an offense get penalized when these guys can't do their job right? And it was pretty straightforward, pretty simple that, he caught it, he went to the ground, he was, had multiple points of contact on the ground before that ball came out. So I don't see why they got it wrong in the first place, and I hate that we had to lose 10 seconds off the clock in such a tight game so late in the game too. Number two, Jordan Whittington is going to fit very well in this receiving core. Once we get our main guys back, once we're able to get Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back on the field, he's going to be a really strong third or fourth person to be rotating in and out of the rotation. He blocks with anger. I feel like I've been saying it every week. He doesn't care. He's not making business decisions like we've seen, the Raiders coach kind of mention on his team. He's out there and he's making team decisions. He's putting his nose in people's faces. He's moving people out of the way. They have him on lead blocking on run plays sometimes. He goes up and gets the ball. He gets after the ball when it's thrown to him. He's running the right routes from what it looks like. He's making small adjustments on routes when he has that freedom to, cut something short or run something long to see if he's playing against man or if he's going up against a zone. So I really like what he's been doing. He fights for yards. He uses both hands to catch the ball, which I think is something that a lot of young receivers, they kind of forget to do from time to time. They want to have that spectacular catch moment and put one hand out or overreach for themselves and try and catch things, with one hand or behind their back or who knows what. But, he does the small things right, and he's been doing them right the whole year. And I think that he's going to be someone that continues to see more playing time as the season progresses. Number three, the run game has gotten better in offense and has stayed bad on defense. I really see our run game on offense as being versatile, as being successful no matter who's in the running back position. Where Kyron obviously has been really good, but Ronnie Rivers has looked good in early parts of the year. Blake Corum has looked really good in the last game when he finally got his chance to really shine. They gave Corum a lot of time to acclimate to the team, to learn the offense, and he kind of shined. Honestly, he had that opportunity to go score a touchdown, which I think all of us wish that he would have got it just to get that monkey off of his back. But he's gonna have to learn that patience, so where he can't run up to the goal line and already predetermine what he's gonna be doing. From what I saw on that goal line carry that he got, he had already decided that he was just gonna dive straight into the pile and try and break through the line. When really the line collapsed right in front of him just as he was diving. If he would have been a little bit more patient, he could have easily just dove over after they had taken each other out. But luckily, we put in Kyron right after. He knows exactly what to do. He goes and finds a good hole and breaks right in and puts the Rams in a good position to take the lead into the half. And yeah, while the run offense has only improved so far with even these young receivers blocking really well on the outside and having that still be a threat to some of these other defenses that we're playing. The run defense for the Rams has not improved at all. It still looks like teams are putting in their power formation. They're getting 8 yards at will. They're getting 5 yards if they have a bad play. There's definitely a lot of times where the defensive line will play really well, where it's Kobe Turner, whether it's one of our outside edge rushers breaking through and getting some kind of tackle for loss or some kind of 1 or 2 yard gain. But if those guys are not getting it done, our linebackers are really not in the right position. First of all, they're not good enough. They don't tackle and push people back towards the line of scrimmage. They tackle away from the line of scrimmage towards the first down marker. So I really see that as the main issue on the team right now. It's a bigger issue than the passing offense right now. It's a bigger issue than the play calling scheme. It's really the most glaring issue. The teams can at will pound the ball, march up and down the field, get into the red zone. Luckily, the red zone defense has been a little bit better, but the defense overall is giving up long touchdowns, long plays. They don't hold up well when there's turnovers. Against the Packers, both of those turnovers to begin the second half are really what caused the game to be out of reach at that point. I know there was a chance for the Rams to go and take the lead and finish with the win at the end of the game, but to give up 14 points at the beginning of the half before you get a real drive, when you came into the half with the 7-point lead, it was killer. It was something that it's just unacceptable. We're gonna lose every single game that happens in, and it just falls on the shoulders of our main guys, honestly. Kyron fumbled the ball. I can't blame anyone else than Kyron for his fumble. Then right away, really quickly, honestly, the defense gave up a long pass to the Packers. They gave up that long pass for them to give up a touchdown. Then right away, Matthew Stafford comes out. Sean McVay does that thing where he steps away from the run and he gets too shy on the run. And they had literally 3 forced deep balls in that drive that Matthew Stafford threw the interception. When it doesn't make sense to force the ball downfield. We don't have those guys on the receiving core right now. We have Tutu, who can definitely go downfield and make a long play, make an impact play with a long pass, but not when both safeties know that's going to happen, not when he's not in motion, not when he has a man under him and a safety over top of him, not when he's bracketed. It really has to be set up through the run, through a play action for Tutu to get downfield and have some kind of one-on-one opportunity, have some kind of deep over the shoulder where he's already past the defense, where he's already past the coverage. So I really thought that was mainly on Sean McVay. For him to call 3 shot plays in a row, it could be Matthew Stafford just deciding and really pressing on the offense. But at some point, the coach can call a slant. The coach can call the run play. And I know that Matthew Stafford knows the offense well enough to check in and out of whatever he wants. But Sean needs to trust the team. He needs to trust the guys out there. He needs to not push so much. There's already been multiple times this year that, him being really aggressive in the first quarter on the first drive has come to bite the team in the butt, honestly, a few more times. Whether it's going for 2 way too early, whether it's, foregoing field goals now that we've switched the issue from we're not getting touchdowns in the red zone and only taking field goals, to where the defense has really locked up and kept the offense and kept the Rams in a winnable position. But the offense is just leaving points on the field now. Now that instead of going for it on 4th down in the red zone, instead of taking those 3 points, puts the team in a much tougher position now that the defense has got into their bend but don't break. I know I said that run defense is bad, but I also said that red zone defense has been showing up and making things a lot harder for teams than it should be for them once they get that close, especially after marching up and down the field. So I really think that, for number 4, being so aggressive early has bitten the team in the bud, and back-to-back weeks now. So back-to-back weeks, it's led to a tougher final drive, a tougher final possession on the team, and has made the team press a lot sooner in some of these tight games, or, what should be tight games, but aren't, because we've left 6 points on the field. We've done things like that where, Sean is just pressing too hard early on, not trusting that those guys can get it together under him throughout those 60 minutes that they're playing. I have a ton of faith in Sean. I want him to be the coach for the rest of his coaching life. These are small things that I think that even he goes back and he's watching his own film and, criticizing his own decisions, and some of it falls on just a precedent that Chris Shula and his defense have set for those in those first few weeks. But now, the season changes so quick. We're through the bye week now. It's gonna be all go, no breaks for the rest of the year. So it's really got to adjust from week to week instead of thinking that there's a trend that can't be broken, and hoping that the team can really band together and squeeze some wins out of these games. I know that the Rams' only game that they've got their ass kicked up and down the field was against the Cardinals. They showed up flat from the first minute of the game to the final minute of the game. They were losing. They were getting their asses kicked, and I feel like they've really turned a switch on since then. That they really took that personally. That they really went and made the adjustments that they needed to not get their asses kicked for 4 quarters. We've definitely been and had bad quarters or a bad half since that game, but there hasn't been a game that it was a complete blowout, that it was over in the first drive. There hasn't been any games like that. The last 2 games against the Packers, and even the game before that against the Bears, we definitely had an opportunity to drive down the field with a game-winning possession in the 4th quarter, and we have the best guy in the world at doing that in Matthew Stafford. So we just got to not put ourselves in a position where there's going to be so much pressure on Matthew that he has to go down and win. And if we're tied in some of these, I think that he can play a bit more fluidly, a bit more free, and get down there and put the team in a position to let Joshua Cardi go out there and hit a game-winning field goal, which we've seen him do already. It has been done. So that's the other thing. It's so aggressive, so early. I understand it if it's the 3rd quarter and Sean has been seeing what the team has been doing, what the defense has been doing, that's different. That's, you're just playing situational ball at that point. But being so aggressive in the first quarter, it is just overreaching and projecting, what he's been seeing from his team from previous games when it should be week to week. And we prepare, and the team's got to prepare for every week to go get a win that week only, and not let the negatives from the week prior leak into the game plan for that week, because I'm confident in the coaching staff that they can put together great game plans week in and week out to get a win. And it's been very obvious that they do have solid game plans. We took the Lions to overtime. That's a winnable game. We took them to overtime. No one can say that, it was a horrible game. Sure, in overtime, the defense gassed out and they ran the ball straight down our throats. But once you're in overtime, no one can say that you got your ass kicked in that game. It just wouldn't make sense for someone to say that. Number 5. This game was lost in the start of the third quarter. Let's not get it wrong. Let's not say that it was a 4-quarter loss there. Like, this game was lost because the offense made mistakes and the defense wasn't able to have their back and hold up long enough or strong enough, and the Packers went and capitalized with a really good quarterback that they have, with the really good run game that they have. Turnovers are bad. Giving up the points off of turnovers just make that exponentially worse. There should never be a point where you give up a touchdown off a turnover and then you come back and turn the ball over right away. And then to make it even worse, we gave up 14 points off of those 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers, back-to-back drives to start off the third quarter. We gave up 14 points off of both of those. And it was just... it killed everything that the Rams did, all the hard work that the Rams did in the first half, all the momentum that they had going into the second half by getting the ball first, having the lead, really focusing on Kyren and the run game to be able to chew up some of that early on in the second half, early of that third quarter, to at least, if we get within field goal range and we make that a 10-point lead, it's a completely different story at that point. Then it's really a 10-point swing, because instead of giving up those 7 on that turnover, we went and pick up 3 on the offense. But even with those poor mental mistakes, with the pressing, and getting kind of desperate, that desperate feeling, the desperation of giving up a quick touchdown after a fumble, and then pressing and pushing the ball downfield and getting a second quick turnover, it was still only a 5-point game. It was only 5 points in the fourth quarter on that final drive. It was still something that was extremely winnable for the Rams. And we got close to the red zone on the final drive. It's not like we stalled out, on our own side of the field or right at the 50. But that failed fourth down conversion, it's tough to ask. It's really, really tough to ask of the Rams. The offense converted on 1 fourth down play in that drive, which was fantastic. But then to get put into another one, right away, because of sloppy decisions, because of, the team, the line looking fatigued and getting easy penalty calls, because of these refs not making the right call the first time when they should have made it. It's all those little mental mistakes from, things that are outside of the team, but also people that are on the team and on the field actively at that point. And it's just, the Rams got to clean that little shit up, honestly. Excuse my language. They got to clean that stuff up, and they really got to get those small mental mistakes out of their game, and we could easily climb back into the division race. We're not that far out. Luckily, Seattle has started tanking. Arizona has gone ahead and got a few interdivision wins. They took out the Niners also. So it's still a completely open division at this point. I'll say that we're a couple losses away from it being a much tougher ask, but we got the Raiders coming up. And those guys, they're in an even bigger, S storm than we are in right now, because their best player seemed to fake an injury and just waited until he was going to get traded to somewhere that he wanted to be, which he did. Look, happy for him, because now we're playing an even weaker Raiders team than we thought we were going to be playing. So I really think that the way that the Raiders, that the way that their organization is trending, the way that their whole football team, from coaching staff to every player on the team, is trending, that we should be able to get a win at home for this game, put us back in the right track, and start to really rattle off some of these wins against these teams that are coming up. We're gonna have some big time prime time games coming up soon. We're gonna have that Monday night football, a Thursday night football. Thursday night is against the Vikings. Monday night is against the Dolphins on November 11th. I'm super excited about that game. I've been wanting to see Tyreek Hill play in person. I wasn't excited to see him get the ball passed from Tua. And I'm not 100% sure if Tua is going to be healthy enough to be playing football at that point. So if they're still Tua-less, then the Dolphins could be another easy game to go out there and get. I know that they have a quarterback that's finally, seems competent enough, but even that team is not the same team. The Vikings are really strong right now. So if we can pull off a win against those guys, and now we know that we can dance with the big dogs. We beat the Niners. We took the Lions to overtime. If we can get a win against the Vikings, then that really makes me feel like the team is in a position where they shouldn't be afraid of anybody in the NFC. As long as they can go ahead and either, steal the division late in the year, because remember, our last 2 home games are against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. So I'm thinking more and more as we get closer to that those 2 games are going to be vital to deciding who's actually going to take first place in the NFC West. And then from there, it's just to play with heart at that point. We're going to continue to get more guys back. Sean McVay said this week that Cooper Kupp's going to begin practicing. I do believe that today, Wednesday, he was limited in practice, his first time in the practice field, which is fine. He hasn't practiced in so many weeks coming back from an injury. It would be weird if he came straight back and was full participant in practice. So they're easing him back in. Just keep an eye on that for Thursday and Friday. Or Friday, he's logging a full practice. I'm going to be excited to see how much more he's going to bring to the table, especially with the lack of skill that we've seen from some of these receivers. Now, we have seen a lot of these young receivers progress a lot more quickly than anybody was expecting. Jordan Whittington, I'm sure, wasn't expecting to get this much playing time when he had to fight for his spot on the team during the preseason. So bringing Cooper Kupp in is gonna be huge, but then getting Puka Nacua back nice and healthy is gonna make the team look nice and scary again. I think that's gonna really solve a lot of these problems for the passing game. Is to get some guys out there that are big, that know how to grab the ball out of the air, they know how to pluck the ball, they know how to attack defenders while the ball is in the air, to either force a defensive pass interference or make it hard on them to know where the ball's going to be. So those are the positives. We're really right there within the division. I believe we're only 2 games back in the loss column within the division. So it's still wide open. Anything can change over the next 3-4 weeks. The Rams just got to clean up some of those small things and really execute when they have the chance to go get a win, to go win one of these games. It's hard to win in the NFL. They say it's the men's league for a reason. They're not giving away these wins. Both sides of the ball are know how hard it is, and both sides, not of the ball, but both teams on the field understand how hard it is to get a win in the NFL, and they're not going to roll over it and just give up a win. Especially with how close a lot of the games have been for the Rams. It's going to take a lot of heart to finish these games, but I know that these guys have it. I know that they were doing it last year. These new kids on the block, these rookies, they have all the heart. They have exactly what is needed and what it means to be a Ram. and they go out there and they play their hearts out. So I can see us really turning the season around really quickly. And if the top teams in the division stumble just a little bit more, it could be a one game division across all four teams, and that'd be really exciting. It'd be really stressful, as a Rams fan, but man, it would make for some really exciting football. Now looking forward to this Sunday against the Raiders, the next game that we have on the schedule. The Raiders, like I said, they're imploding right now. They can't even get their best guy out there. They lost their best guy. Who knows how this quarterback is going to look? I know that he's played for them in the past, but he wasn't the starter. It's just lining up to be a winnable game, which sucks because the last time there was a winnable game was against the Cardinals, on paper, and we got our asses handed to us in a paper bag. So I'm hoping that McVay, and I know that he's got this. He has a really, really strong record when he has 2 weeks to prepare for a team, and that bye week gave him 2 weeks to prepare for the Raiders. So I know that they're going to come out ready. The team just has to play with heart. The offense has to be on point early. Matthew needs to be on point from the first quarter. He can't be overthrowing people. He can't be throwing the ball high. If he comes out and he's on point, the run game stays on point, it should be one of those games that they say is a get-right game. So, the Raiders are going to bring everything that they have. I know that. It's just the Raider way. Those guys, that organization, that franchise has really played with their guts out and their blood on their sleeves. So I'm not saying that it's going to be an easy game. They still have Max Crosby. That guy can destroy a game for the Raiders against anyone. But the tackles have been playing really well. I think they've started to really step into their midseason form and figure things out. The middle of the line, it still needs to figure some things out communication wise. There's still too many unblocked defenders, defensive linemen that are getting easy sacks on Stafford. But yeah, on paper, our defense against their offense, I'm really liking it for our defense. Our offense against their defense, I think that it's going to be really close. If we can contain Max Crosby, it might be a really good game for the offense. If we can't, it's going to be a struggle to score points, because we've seen when we can't pass the ball, they put so many people inside the box that Kyron runs out of those little holes, those little backup, routes that he can take. And he's really good at picking a hole, seeing one or two other holes down the line, and just making his little bounce or his next move to get to one of those. So if we can, keep the pass game and the run game going together, it's just going to keep everything open and nice and flow. My 3 keys to the win against the Raiders, I got 3 of them. My number 1 is stay calm. Just stay calm. Everybody, from the coaching staff, the coordinators, the players, we just got to stay calm. I've seen it time and time again. The offense will press. The defense will not be sure if what to do on a break, on a route. They'll get happy feet in the hole. So let's just stick to the run on offense. Let's not put too much pressure. Let's not put too much pressure on Matthew Stafford and his arm. Let's take the points when we can, because the defense has been showing up, and we really got to play. We really have to play disciplined defense. We have to be disciplined in the secondary specifically. All the flags in the secondary, all the holdings, the defensive pass interference, they're coming heavily out of those secondary, out of the safeties, out of our corners. And if we can clean that up, if we can be a lot more disciplined in that part of the field, I think it's going to lead to a much better scenarios for the Rams in the fourth quarter. Number 2, we get Kupp back in the groove of things. Feed Cooper Kupp. I know he's coming back off of an injury, but he's had his time to heal. He's had his time to get right. He's had his time to get back on the field. We all know that even if he's hurt and he's out there, Matthew Stafford is going to feed Cooper Kupp. He's going to give him 10 plus targets. He's going to go out there and feed him the ball. So just get him back into the groove of things, get him into position, stack him with Jordan Whittington, put him in a position for a wide receiver screen, and let Jay Witt go out there and move somebody, block one of those skinny guys. Whatever we got to do to get Kupp's confidence right to where it needs to be. And I'm confident that he's going to go out there and be ready and have the skill. But there comes a point where you have to have those reps from week to week. You have to have that groove of things to get back into. So if we can get him back into that groove for the season really quickly in his first game of the year, then man, that'd be awesome. And number 3, pressure the quarterback. It's been something that the defense has done really well all year. It's been something that Fisk and Kobe Turner, Byron Young and Jared Verse, that they're all playing with the high motor. They're all making a move or two to get around their linemen that they have to get through. And they're around the feet, they're around the body of the quarterback. We just got to continue to put pressure, especially like someone on Aiden O'Connell. He's not Jordan Love. He's not going to be able to move the pocket. He's not going to be able to roll out as quickly and get away. He's not Kyler Murray, who's just going to give you happy feet and move 10 yards in a split second from what it felt like, to where you think you're taking a good angle and all of a sudden you look like you've never taken an angle for a tackle in your life. So I do think that the defense is going to have a good game. I think that the pass rush is going to be the highlight of the defense. And we need to just continue to get after the quarterbacks of the opposite teams and force them to be perfect. We're not forcing them to make mistakes. We want to force them to be perfect because we've seen it. No quarterback's perfect in the league. We have a guy who's a top tier guy right now, and not even he's perfect. We saw Jordan Love, who many would say is a top 5 quarterback, at least in the NFC, and we forced him to throw a pick 6, which put us in a really good position to win that game early on. But they're not going to force them to make mistakes for the entire game. We can try to force them. The defense can try to force them to be perfect for the whole game. But to force them to make mistakes for the entirety of the game, that would just be bad coaching on the other side of the ball, on the other team. That would just be bad coaching with no adjustments and no real changes to what they're doing, and continuing to put their guys out in bad positions, which I don't expect any NFL team to be doing, because why would any of those coaching staffs be in the NFL if that's something that is a possible outcome, honestly. But thank you so much for joining me for episode 4 of Ramily Radio. I've had so much fun breaking down the film, reviewing what's coming up for the next few weeks. Really seeing these rookies blossom. I love it so far. I'm having a lot of fun on TikTok with some of you guys, just following me and showing me your editing skills. I'm really excited to start working with my little brother to edit some of my videos and try and put together some cool edits with actual game footage or game highlights, to the extent of what the NFL will allow without getting me any strikes. But you'll see a lot of those edits more on like the TikTok or YouTube short type of format, rather than within these like full episode format videos. Other than that, definitely follow me, whether it's on Instagram, here on YouTube, or on TikTok. Make sure you give me a follow, so that we can continue to progress towards that 1,000 follower mark, so that I can give away that Matthew Stafford jersey. I really wanted to give it to one of you guys. I really want to give it to a dedicated Rams fan. I'm excited to get a chance to meet some of you guys in the future. If you see me out in the stadium, if you see me out in the tailgate area, I own season tickets. I'm right there in section 211. So if you ever see me out there, definitely give me a shout, say hi. Definitely love to take pictures with any of you guys, or, just talk ball. Honestly, I love football. I love the Rams more than anything, almost as much as I love the Dodgers. I've been a baseball fan since I was a child, since 3 years old. But I've been a diehard Rams fan since I was about 11, 12. It's definitely my team that I invest the most money in right now by being a season ticket holder and a licensed owner in the stadium. So just give me a shout. Let's talk Rams. Let's talk ball. Let's talk LA sports. I'm here for all of it. Give me a follow so that I can give one of you guys the Stafford jersey, and I can make sure that you look good out there in the stadium. We got the Raiders this week. We're going to be at home. I want it to be loud. I'm expecting it to be loud. I'm going to be out there in the stadium and see you guys there. I'm not doing any more traveling, not for the rest of the football season. So I'm excited to get a lot more chances to be in the stadium and right next to you guys and, cheering my team on just like you are. Whose house? Rams house, baby. Thank you again. My name is Jonathan Sanchez. I'm your host of Rabbit Radio at King_John, Jon 22 on Instagram. Give me a follow. And if you have anything that you want to collab on, definitely let me know. I'm looking for other content creators, other, small manufacturers, anything like that. If it's Rams related, let me know. We'll figure out a way for me to either talk about it in an episode or for me to put it up on my TikTok in one of my short videos. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a blessed night and go Rams.